Hey up, I'm one of the right thick old white men what wouldn't know anything from anything and being dismissed as the idiots of the world now. And I'd like to know and ask all these Extinction Rebellions a simple question. How do you dodge a comet? Yeah, how do you dodge a comet? How do you move the earth out of way of a comet? How do you stop an ice age? And how do you stop a pole shift? Because as far as we know, the tectonic upheaval of one caused by one thing or other causes cataclysmic changes and brings about extinction events. It's that simple, really. Climate changes, gradual one, like when the Earth is experiencing now. Well, China's saying, well, bugger it. We're just going to build more and more things. We're going on. We're building a coal-fired power station every 2 weeks because we don't give a damn. We can deal with all that CO2. We can grow lots of trees with it. But not in the West. They've dumbed them down so much. You know, we're calling us all white men stupid anymore when you go in the streets saying we don't want cars and we don't want trains, planes, boats and buses anymore. And they're saying by 2025 there'll be no more CO2 in Britain and no more association with anything with CO2. So therefore they can't import EVs from anywhere that uses CO2 or causes CO2. You can't afford bringing clothes or anywhere on any vessel that is producing CO2. So soon Britain's going to get around in a lot of naked people facing a death in winter and burning their tits off in summer. And so I suppose, you know, they can get down to skins, but there's not that many animals to skin. And soon run out of them when the clothes wear out and all that. They won't have much to wear at all. So it gets down to basically and eating each other. Cannibalism will come in because there's no way to produce enough food without CO2. Anyway, I'll bring enough food in. You can't bring food in anymore from anywhere that uses CO2 or any CO2 provided transport. So that basically, well, seals Britain's fate as it becomes extinct. And I don't know if that's the idea of the Extinction Rebellion. How are you rebelling against extinction if you're involved in causing it? You can't be involved rebelling against an extinction event if you are setting about causing the extinction of economic life itself in Britain. It's a contradiction in logic. And obviously there's no logic whatsoever in people who do not understand you can't dodge a comet, you can't dodge a pole shift, you can't dodge an ice age, you can't dodge a tectonic upheaval, and you can't, whatever, and you can't dodge the weather. I mean, you can sort of complain about the weather, but you can't dodge it. It's in your face. It comes and gives you whatever it gives you. The best thing to deal with the weather is deal with, like the Chinese is dealing with it. And now they're saying all these heroes and celebrities in Britain, we don't want nothing to do with CO2, flying around the world saying we don't want nothing to do with CO2 as we keep flying around in the world, burning up the road in the sky. We want nothing to do with CO2. Well, if you could jail people for hypocrisy and bullshit, there'd be an awful lot of people in Britain now in jail for being hypocrites and bullshitting and basically trying to bring Britain's economy to an extinction event, a phase of extinction, because without CO2, any interaction with it, there is no life. I mean, it's about organic life itself, and I won't go into the detail of that because I'm just a stupid old man who's going to listen. But the point is, how can you be rebelling against an extinction event if you're involved in creating an extinction of an economy because we want nothing to do with CO2, even though it's an essential compound gas that brings life to the planet, and at 400 parts per million, you have to think about what that really means, and humanity's component of that is 50 parts per million or thereabouts. Then you can see it's tiny. It's less than 0.00001% or 2.5%, of the actual gases in the whole atmosphere. It's not actually an atmospheric gas, it's just something that's driven off by the organics of the planet that is resulting from forests decaying, dropping the leaves in autumn and stuff like that, causes CO2. How are they going to stop the leaves in the trees dropping in autumn and decaying and causing CO2 is something they're going to have real problems with. The more trees you plant, the more CO2 they produce when they decompose, and therefore they produce more trees. That's the idea. The tree drops leaves, they can decompose, it feeds the soils, and it also gives off other gases, organic gases, and carries on and produces life and abundance on Earth. But Extinction Rebellions aren't aware that they're involved in basically in the extinction of themselves as kind of breeding choices. Who would breed with any of these extinction loonies? No person in the right mind would breed with an extinction loony, and I'm suggesting they should be banned from riding in cars, trains, buses. They should be banned from using anything right now. If they're serious, they give away everything to do with CO2 right now. At this very moment, they would show they were serious, and they'd just go on strike and not use any transport, anything whatsoever, and fend for themselves off the paddocks and whatever, like primitives and like they want everyone else to live. That's when we'll see the genuine. As yet, all it is, and all it ever was, and all it is a lot of crap, quite frankly, and it's an attack. It's a counter to Brexit. That's what it is. Let's be frank about this. It's a counter to Brexit. That's all. Extinction event. Well, it's time to make it extinct.